Those meatballs look good.
Oh, that's so good.
Did you make them yourself?
That's why they're good.
No.
They found the face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake roll. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he should out of
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room. It is Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey guys, we have April 20th. We all know what that means. That is 420.
It is, what is that? What is 420? What is that?
That would be National Pot Smoking Day.
Oh, that's this, right? National Pot Smoking Day.
Yeah, because at 420, what was it? Some high school in California?
Something like that. What happened to your face?
Where'd I go? I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just see this little. Are you? Are you doing something that you need to be off camera for?
I don't know. I'm going to close that. I don't know what's going on. This is, folks, this is not intentional.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, we all believe that. Oh, there he is.
Go.
Right.
It's actually the app turned my camera off.
That was pretty funny.
The app apparently has good taste. So no, what was that? So 420, what was it?
National Pot Smoking Day.
Right, what was it? A California high school where at 420 they all met at a certain place and it just grew and became a thing.
Sure. Okay.
Or think something like that. I don't know.
I thought it was either that or it was that's the police code for marijuana is 420. It's like or something. And
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure. I've heard rumor about like 9 different things. So it could be one of those two. Those are the ones I heard the most. So, but National Pot Smoking Day. I've also it's also billed as National Marijuana Day.
Yeah.
National Weed Day.
There was actually a National Weed Day that actually celebrates weeds. Those unwanted plants. Yeah, sure. That's not this.
So it's not this. So and then there's and then it's just Happy 420. There you go. In any event, I wore my Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers T-shirt for this today. So
your hat's about 30 off.
My hat's about 30 off. Yeah, it's the best I could do there.
But the whole thing is, we get those IPAs that are dank and taste like weed.
Sure.
And everyone thinks that that marijuana and hops are related. Mm-hmm. And I think they're in the same family, like Cannabinaceae or something like that. Some Latin word.
It's the same family. Yeah, they're not. They're related. They're like,
but they're very distantly
second
related.
Cousins, third cousins, something like that, or however you want to call it, whatever.
I'm not a botanist.
If any of our multiple producers out there want to jump on this and let us know the exact relation, that would be awesome. So
would someone who studies plants in Florida be a phlebotanist?
A phlebotanist, no. Yeah. Not a phlebotanist.
I don't think so.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I really had my day sucks, so I need a beer. So let's bring the guest on.
Why don't we bring our guest on?
Yeah,
and we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this week is none other than Mr. PJ Windle. There he is right there.
What's up,
co-owner
guys?
and head brewer at Ross Brewing in Port Monmouth, New Jersey, amongst many other things. We'll get to a lot of them later. So many hats this man wears. He's only wearing one right now, but
that's right.
Yeah, he's.
What is your hat? Tack Waterman?
Tack Waterman. So it's actually a company that we're doing business with Ross Brewing. They are a fish and surf company. They're located in Long Branch, but they're a semi-national company. And we are located on the water, as we'll talk about in a little bit, for our brewery. So we like to cater to the fishing community and the surfing community. And it kind of was a perfect fit. So we're going to do a collaboration with them and release a beer under the Tack Waterman logo.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Awesome. Matt actually got back before Brian did. Just throwing that in Brian's face. They are fairly closely related. There you go. And might I add, all spelt correctly. There you go. Matt has, as he self-proclaims, Sasquatch fingers. So there's usually a word or two in every sentence that he types that's spelled wrong. So. But anyway, and Brian did chime in. He said, "Cheers, dudes." There you go.
Hey, Brian. Brian will blame the lag, of course.
Right. Of course. But that's all good.
But-
So what are you drinking? What are you guys drinking today? Let's start with our guest. I don't have a crawl for him, but
All right. So, so I'm going to start with my beer. I'm actually going to drink my beers tonight. So
I think we're all drinking your beers tonight.
We're all
Let's
drinking
do
your
it.
beers. Yeah.
good. All right. So the one I chose, it's kind of like the perfect everyman's beer. It is a Vienna style lager. It's an amber lager. It's going to give you crisp notes, malty notes. I would say like an even craftier Yangling style of beer.
Okay.
But very easy to drink, kind of hides the 5.2%. You think you're drinking something a little less than that. My wife's favorite beer of all of the beers that we have done. She's allergic to wheat. So
It's
I
very
have
important too. So
yeah, exactly. So if the wife's in your corner and she's drinking your beer, then you're in good shape because then
Absolutely.
she doesn't care if I'm enjoying my beer all the time. So
Yeah.
so this is the Shrewsbury Lager. We enjoy naming our beers after the rivers in New Jersey. So we've got the Passaic, we've got Shrewsbury, we've got Manasquan, we've got a couple of others. So we just the 4 or 5. The Navasink is our West Coast IPA, and we love naming them after rivers that kind of touch multiple towns.
it's awesome.
You can't use Bass then, can you?
No. I'm going to get into this one. So what are you guys drinking?
Go ahead, Brian. I'm looking at Brian's comment over here. I'll tell you in a
Yeah.
second.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Mr.
I have a little more hair.
Yes, you do. Not much.
Not much. I'm going to actually go with one not named after a river.
Okay.
And I wonder if this has any kind of, well, I guess this is a beach thing. Meet me at the Snack Shack. Since it is 420, I needed something that had hops in it.
And
So
snacks make you think of 420, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You need, this is why I wrote,
Good choice for today.
That's
and I'm
it.
actually putting it into I refer to this as it comes in pints mug, because in my hand this looks like a pint glass in a hobbit's hand. If you remember that scene
Yeah.
from Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
And this is a session, so I actually undercut you in the ABV, which is nice, right? 4.7.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think this may be the first Ross beer I've had. Actually took a ride out to Glenridge, I think, to pick it up.
Nice. All right. Very good. So that one, 4.7, but actually go the opposite direction. It drinks like a much bigger beer. It drinks about 6, I would say. That's the way it feels to me. A little bit more complexity in the body than you would typically be expecting in a session IPA.
Absolutely.
And then it's finished with Matueka. So you get a really nice aromatic feel before you even get into it. And it's more hoppy than you would expect out of a session IPA, I believe.
I was about to say it's maltier than I would have expected. This is the hop profile obviously a little differently, but this almost reminiscent of 60 Minute.
Yeah, what I was trying to do was just not make you think you're drinking a low ABV, muddled down version of an IPA. So I wanted to give a little bit more backbone, a little more character shows through there. And then I love the Matueka hop, so we went with the dry hop of Matueka. We used Amarillo, we used some Simcoe, we used a couple of other ones. It was a nice bouquet of bittering hops.
Nice.
But the dry hop, I think, set it off nicely.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's a yummy beer.
Nice and tasty. I will open mine and we'll throw that up there. I'm going another river. The river right by me too. Shark River Pills.
Nice.
I'm about 5 blocks away from it right now. I'll pour this in. Let you tell already. It's a Czech Pills, right?
Yeah, it's a Czech style pills, but it's an American version of a Czech style pills. And what
So
I
it's
mean by that is I took the Saz hop out and I used Laurel. So it's a super noble hop. You get a little bit more citrus and a little more floral than you would expect out of a Czech style Pilsner. But your finish is going to be very Czech style. It should be crisp. It should be clean, easy to drink. Snappy like a crispy boy usually is, but just a little different of an aftertaste than you might be used to because of that Laurel hop.
Yeah, definitely. But definitely, that's nice.
Aromatic, right? A little difference in the nose.
Very aromatic, more than you would think out of a Pils, obviously, much more than you
Yep.
think out of a Pils. But yeah, that finish is definitely interesting and good, and a little bittering and then drying. It's nice.
Yeah, we didn't go crazy with the bitterness level on it, but it's still just a scotch more than you would expect out of a Pilsner. I like to kind of walk the line of trying just something a little out of the ordinary, but not going so crazy that people are blown away by a difference. You know, they want a Pilsner, so you still want to taste what you would be looking for in a Czech Pils.
Absolutely. It's really tasty. Kudos on the beer.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Catch up on a couple of comments before we get into the show. Matt came back and said, hops lack an enzyme that can create THC or CBD. So there you go. So
Yeah, they're cousins.
They're cousins.
Yep.
And not identical cousins. No, not as we won't get into that. But anyway, Mariette Corcoran, right there. She went looking for Ross but couldn't find it.
Well, that's a bummer. What
You gotta go on the
town
beer
do you
finder.
live in?
She loves the wit beer, and
Awesome.
I went assuming that she's near me because she said that's where I live when I said I'm about 5 blocks or so away from the Shark River. So
Oh, okay. Well, then you probably can head over to Max's in Neptune. They carry the full lineup. Wanamassa Liquors carries some of our beer. Saltwater Market down in AP carries a good amount of them. Oh, she's from Port Monmouth.
she's
so
from Port
right,
Monmouth. There
right
you go.
where
There
we're setting up shop.
There you go.
Portside has some of our beer up in Middletown. The Circus in Middletown has it as well. And we're kind of moving all over the place. So if they don't have our beer at your regular place, just tell them. Bring Ross in. Give us a call. We would love
Absolutely.
to be in your spot.
That's all you got to do. And most places will absolutely say, okay, well, if you want that, I'll get it in, and they'll make a call, and there you go.
And
Yep.
I
I mean, if they get a case or two and they see it goes fast, then all of a sudden they start ordering with consistency.
Well,
There
I
you go.
found mine when we knew we were doing the show. It's like I need to get myself some Ross beer, so went onto the website, and you've got the beer finder there,
Yeah.
and it pins all the stores that carries Ross. So that's how I wound up in Glen Ridge.
Oh,
The
good.
closest to me, I live in Kearney, so that's about as close as I could find.
Yep.
About a 15-60 minute drive. Not too bad.
There you go.
You know, well, we're expanding the net quickly, but we don't want to go too far too fast.
Sure.
We've had to put out double the amount of liquid we even thought we were going to have to right now. So, I mean, as much as that's a good thing, I don't want to end up sending to a location and then not being able to send to them for another month or so.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, you don't want
that doesn't lend itself to no consistency at the location. So, I just try to do it in a staged manner. We're not even in South Jersey right now, other than just one spot, Tailgaters down in Galloway, just to kind of give the presence down there.
Sure.
But Central Jersey and North Jersey, we're just kind of saturating as much as we can, and then getting the net wider as we grow.
That's awesome. Real quick, another comment. Dennis Calzitti said, "Hello, everybody. This gentleman
Dennis.
was we had the special Mets Corner podcast last Monday for the gentleman that created the K Corner. This is the gentleman right here. So,
Oh, very cool.
there you go. So,
Watch that show.
I will.
Watch that show. It was an entertaining show.
it was very good.
Nice. Yeah, I will.
So cool. All right. Let's talk beer. When did you? All right. Well, let's go all the way back first. When did you first get into craft beer? Like, what was?
I started brewing craft beer, home brew, 13 years ago now.
Okay.
I did one of those.
Go before that. Go before that. When did you get into craft beer? What brought you in
Personally. All right.
personally? Even before you started brewing.
Yeah. Okay. So my brother was in Villanova, and I'm 3 years younger than him. And when he started going there, he was 18, 19. I was 15, 16. I would go up and visit him. And he started working for a microbrewery distributor at the time. And it was one of the very few back then that would distribute a multitude of options. And he just started bringing back to his dorm room all these unique one-off style beers. And as I was growing up, 16, 17, 18, I was playing some beer pong with him at Villanova. I started to go, wow, like this isn't Bud Light, this isn't Natty Ice, this isn't that stuff that I would expect to see in a dorm room. And he just started introducing me to brand after brand of craft options, and I fell in love with it immediately because I was like, all right, there's clearly better options out there than the junk that people serve at college. And that just I mean, before I was even legal to drink, I kind of fell in love with craft and what it was all about and what it represented. And then when I got older and I could start making it myself, that's when I really it became a passion. It became more than just an exciting thing to collect and hobby to do.
Right.
I fell in love with the task of brewing.
What was the first thing that you brewed at home?
So I did, of course, double batch the first day. I did two different, just jump right into it. Let's do two different things. And I did I guess it would just be considered like a hoppy IPA. It was, nothing crazy. I think it was West Coast style at the time. So I think I did a Westie first and I did a Belgian with it.
Wow.
And the Belgian
big undertaking for your first
exactly.
First day of brewing.
You don't know better.
If you know anything about PJ, it's both feet in at the same time.
That's it. And
so you had two carboys from the get-go?
From the jump. Yep. And it was back in the day, it was Mr. Beer was making those kits, and then also Northern Brewer was making the kits as well. Mm-hmm. And the Belgian to me just sounded like I shouldn't be doing this, and that's why I'm doing it, because it was just like, if I'm going to learn how to go, I figured I'm going to fail. And when I fail, let's start to learn about why I failed. And then that will help me right away become a better brewer. And they both came out great. I don't know why. I don't have any idea why, because there's so many variables in home brewing.
You sanitized.
Yes, I mean that's 100% of the time. If you're focused on your sanitization and everything is sanitized correctly, you're just going to find that even an okay beer just tastes better because you're not going to get the off flavors, you're not going to get the over oxidation and stuff like that. But they came out great, and they kind of set my bar to what I should be making really high right off the bat. And then of course it went downhill for a while from there.
Of course.
Because there's no way to recreate something you just don't know what you did right or wrong. Temperature levels are the hardest thing to gauge when you're home brewing.
On a stovetop, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it in the backyard. I had a turkey fryer that I never used for anything but doing beer. And that was my system. It was powerful, lots of BTUs. It warmed up faster than, doing it on your stovetop at home and stuff like that. So I kind of just, once I said, I'm going to do this, I just jumped into it. I spent too much money and got way too involved, but I was working at Circuit City at the time, and Circuit City was paying me way too much money, and that's why they went out of business. They were paying these, they were paying people ridiculous amounts of money to work for them. So I had expendable income, and I just poured it into beer making at the time.
There you go. Well,
not a bad thing.
And it definitely turned out as a good thing for all of us at this point.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So kudos for that. How'd you first get involved with Ross?
So years ago, John and I met because I do the Essential Guy Talk Show, and he also does Point Blank podcast on the same network of shows. It's over at a Shared Universe podcast studio. And I had met John just through the podcast world. I think I kind of bumped into him while he was doing a remote podcast somewhere. But I also knew him from the beer community, from, Let's Talk Craft Beer at the time and some of the other groups. And John always kept in touch with me and said, look, if life changes happen and you have an interest in becoming a head brewer, I would like to talk to you about it. So I was assistant brewing for Cypress Brewing Company up in Edison.
That's where we met.
Yeah, exactly. So I started out just volunteering my time over there, and then it turned into kind of like an internship, so to speak, where I would just do everything I could possibly do of every job there and shadow Charlie and just learn the crazy ways that Charlie does stuff, and then try to fold that into my technique for what I wanted to accomplish on a larger system. Now, the benefit of working there was that the system's gigantic. So I got to see a 20 barrel system and operate it, and, really understand that if you can run that, you can run anything smaller than that, because it just becomes a quicker process. So
Sure.
I learned on their system, which I love doing. And then after a couple of years, 21 Locks Brewing Company came calling and asked me to be their head brewer. And I also became co-owner for a while of that business, and that was in Pennsylvania. And after a year plus, that stalled due to COVID and other issues, just finance issues and a bunch of other issues. So John came calling again and said, if things are changing, I'd like them to change here, and love to bring you on. So we came together last August, and I signed on with them, and I've been with Ross ever since.
That's a great story. Yeah. I remember all the posts that you put up with with 21 Locks.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that didn't work out, because it was looking like a great project, great opportunity, 15,000 square feet, just over the border into Pennsylvania over there. But as you know, with opening up a brewery, there's 1,000 hoops you need to jump through, and everything needs to line up correctly, and everything that takes a year really takes 2. But then we had COVID in the middle of it, which just threw a complete curveball in the situation.
Sure.
They are still planning on hopefully opening before the end of this year. I cross my fingers and I root for those guys, because they're all good people. But I just needed to go somewhere where I could actually do the job and brew and make a living.
Well, it's definitely turned out well so far. So
thank you.
Well, this is my first Ross, so. And I'm rather enjoying it.
It's actually
All right,
not the
good to
first
hear.
Ross It's actually not the first Ross we've had on the show, though.
No, you did.
Ice Boat.
Ice Boat.
Ice Boat was on the show when it came out.
That one's special to me. I love that beer because it's sneaky. When you look at a winter warmer, a lot of times you just expect a 6 or 7% heavy on the bouquet of spices and things. We went with a different direction. I wanted belly warming winter warmer here.
Yeah.
We went 10%, nice and dark, viscous, pours like oil, and it's got vanilla and nutmeg and allspice and cinnamon and all those delicious flavors. But I just feel like they play together well with that nice, thick, rich backbone. It definitely warms you up on a winter night.
It definitely warmed me up that night, and
Nice.
the other three that I had afterwards.
Good.
Yeah, he was supposed to save me one.
I'm sorry.
But
I got a feeling PJ will brew it again. So
Yes.
it might be several months from now, but he'll brew it again.
And I can go back to Glen Ridge and pick up a 4 there. It's not what I picked up for the show, though, since it's already been drank on the show.
Yeah.
This is true. Oh, did they still have Ice Boat there?
Oh, yeah, they still had
Really?
it. And they actually have it reduced.
Grab it. I'm sure it's.
Oh my
Nice,
God,
yeah.
grab it. Yeah, because it's not available anywhere. It sold out pretty quickly, and the places that scooped it up, now they kind of are slow rolling it. I know a lot of places that say they'll put out a case and then they'll wait a little bit and then they'll put out another case. So, yeah, I mean, if you could find it.
Yeah, I'm glad to see.
Beer.
I'm actually glad to see that they reduce it, because it means they are interested in rotating stock, right?
Mhm.
Keeping the fresh stuff in the coolers.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
So you PJ, you told me on the Monday that it was at Wanamasa. I ran up to Ocean, grabbed it, and I happened to be back there on Thursday, and it wasn't there. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm knocking on wood, but things are doing great, and sales are terrific. And like virtual learning we released a couple of weeks ago, it's already done. 110 cases are blown through, so they're all out in the wild. So they are available at a lot of different liquor stores, but on our side, it's basically sold out already.
do you think that the success is in despite of the pandemic, or do you think the pandemic had a hand in it? Because everyone,
more
alcohol
packaged
content.
goods. Yeah, more packaged goods are selling and people want to kind of take the locals under their arm, which is really great. What we're seeing from a lot of liquor stores is they're not pulling in as many from out of state. They're just saying, if you're local, we want to give you some shelf space. We want to put you in the case and feature you, which we absolutely love, obviously. But the bar side, I've been pleasantly surprised with. We're selling a lot of draft. And
Really?
I didn't realize that would be the case, but there are places that order multiple halves a month and are doing it with very strong consistency. Navasink and Shrewsbury and Manasquan Wit are kind of the three that are just going around to places, and they're ordering them as a consistent brew. So really happy with that.
That's awesome because most people you talk to still, I mean, obviously the packaged goods, the cans are so much more prevalent because, a couple of guests, they tell you like John Kampanik from Spellbound was on last week, and he said they basically, they'll brew a batch, they'll keg 3 half barrels for the tap room, and then everything else goes into cans. Because he's not selling really any draft. So if he knows he's getting an order, that's a different story. They'll fill him, on request. But the fact that you have some consistency with that, local consistency. I mean, that's great.
That's a new story for us.
That's good. That's good. That's great for you, and it's also great thinking about it for the.
Hopefully, it's a trend in the way things are going. Exactly. Hopefully things are loosening up a little bit. We understand that we're a very unique situation. John himself, he worked for L'Oreal for 12 years. He was the vice president of marketing for the Northeast, so he's got connections in that realm, and he also owned 2 craft beer bars. So he has a very strong network of other people that own bars that he's close with. So they bring us in on a trial run, which is great. But then once the beer does the talking and the beer is renewed, then it becomes the beer is what's keeping us there, not just the connection.
Sure.
I'll ask of course. With EGT, I will ask the companies that I featured, give me a chance, give me one draft line. And if things work out, keep me, but don't keep me just because of this connection. I want the beer to be the reason why it's there. So maybe the foot in the door is helping, but to stay, it's because people are drinking, which is great. So I'm excited to see all the liquid going.
Absolutely. I want to rewind a little bit to something you just said about, the liquor stores saying, if you're local, we want to bring you in.
Right.
Do you think this is a lashback at the government bailouts being more towards the chains and not towards the locals?
100%. Yeah, because entrepreneurs are feeling it all over the place in New Jersey. And I didn't get any personal help. I own 3 different businesses. I didn't get any PPP money. I didn't get any support along the way. So I think there are a lot of liquor stores or a lot of individually owned stores that are just saying, you know what, let's all band together and help those in the industry that we enjoy. And hopefully it lifts each other up a little bit. I personally have been ordering delivery to the home from other breweries that do that.
Sure.
Kind of want to just give back and make sure that everybody that's in the industry together is given the best opportunity to keep on keeping on, so to speak. There are a lot of places, unfortunately, breweries that were set up as a tasting room reliant business, and they've had to completely change their focus, and now they've had to go to packaged goods, and that is an undertaking in itself to be able to change your whole business plan during COVID. So
it's one thing to move the bar one way or the other, but to swing it completely the opposite way is difficult.
It's tough.
We had Gretchen on the show, and she described that particular swing.
Yeah. She is one of the OGs of craft beer in New Jersey, and you got to just tip your cap to her because she's so well versed. She knows what she's doing, and she's so smart. And for her specifically, she doesn't sell a lot of beer to the distribution world and doesn't package a lot of beer. So she's one of them that, to tread water, needed to change some things.
Since she started canning, first she was canning at a couple of the breweries, and now she's got her own canning line or whatever. Yeah, I was pleased to see her in a few stores, albeit local to here.
That's it. Yeah.
So it was nice to see. It was nice to see Little Dog.
I love it. I love to see those brands adapt and change because, Little Dog was not a brewery that ever made itself we're going to be in every craft beer, establishment.
Not their model.
Not their model at all. But if she wants to keep making beer, adapt and overcome, and that seems to be what she's willing to do.
And hopefully it's short. It's going to be short lived. It doesn't. It'll swing back and then she has a new revenue stream. She can keep that going on a certain scale, but get her tap room back too. So
and at least she's got a forgiving landlord.
Exactly. This is very true. This is very true. Really quick, Matt just said Ice Boat was delicious. Yes, it
Thank you,
definitely
Matt.
was.
So Matt's been a big help. He helps out our brewery with multiple things. He's helped us out with construction. He helps me out on brew days sometimes when I'm up at Cypress. He's a big help. So thanks. Tip the cap to Matt.
It's funny. We keep a data sheet on all of our shows, and Matt's been a guest a few times.
Yeah.
And the column next to the guest is, who they represent or where they're from. And next to Matt, I always put all the places you want to be.
Yeah.
Stealing his line that he used on the show once.
He was on the show by himself as his own own guest. Then he was on the show with Sergio. And
Lavino,
and then at some point, I believe we're looking at slating it into July. He'll be on with Charlie. So
yeah,
nice.
But,
Matt and I are kind of two people doing the same thing until I took Ross over, because I was we call ourselves basically craft beer consultants, because many times I would go to different breweries, help them with brew day, help them with recipe planning, help them with, developing a name for a beer, things like that. So we have this playful idea that we should have cards that say craft beer consultant on them.
Sure, absolutely.
Go brewery to brewery.
Definitely.
But now I found a home. So here's where I am. Ross is my spot.
Is craft beer consulting just a... I'm sure the statutes of limitations are gone, Brian.
Yeah, that's a while ago now. So,
but how much craft beer
took a sip, one sip. It was
just
one sip.
How much of craft beer consulting?
You didn't swallow it.
I didn't inhale. Today I will inhale. It's 420.
It is 420.
I will inhale. Yeah.
I may have. No, never. At any rate, but how much of craft beer consulting there was just telling Charlie, "Are you out of your mind?"
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that. Charlie is a lot of things. One of them is bullheaded and very focused on what he wants to do.
Never
but
that.
I have to give him credit. When he is proven to maybe be wrong in a situation, he's willing to accept it and then move in that direction and adapt and change. So, at least with me, maybe it took years to knock down that wall, but Charlie is one of the more well-versed brewers in New Jersey. He knows a lot about a lot. And whenever I have a question, the first person I go to is him. I will usually get 25 different answers for the question, and then we'll hone in on what is actually going to help me. He's a wealth of knowledge. He really is. And he also turns to other people, Dennis from Brick City, that gives him water chemistry answers and things like that. But I mean, what you find out about in this community is that they're willing to help and they want to help. So other people that are assistant brewers and brewers in New Jersey, reach out to the other brewers in New Jersey. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be more than happy to answer your questions.
Well, that's what I love about the craft beer industry is how everyone helps each other out.
I've said it for years. It's co-opetition. It's not competition.
Yeah. I mean, we're only strong as a community of brewers if all of us are doing good work. If New Jersey's not considered a destination to go get beer, it doesn't matter if one place is, because for the most part, they're just not going to come here and go to 5, 6, 7, 8 breweries. They're just going to skip it and go to Connecticut or go to Massachusetts, wherever they think they got a wealth of good beer.
Sure.
We've brought that up a few times in the show when we had Chuck Aaron on talking about the Hackettstown area.
Yeah.
What's going on up there. Even the story with we just mentioned Gretchen. When she first opened, people were saying, "Hey, are you saturating the area? You got Kane and Carton in the area, before, and is this competition here?" And then you look, she's got a picture of what Augie was there, Mike was there, Dave was there, I forget who was there from Flying Fish, but everyone came together to help her on her first mash in. Right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I mean,
like PJ said, she's the OG in craft beer,
very well respected. So.
Absolutely,
and even from other OGs like Augie, Augie's going to pick and choose the places that he goes to visit. He's not going to go and visit every new brewery that comes popping up. I got a great relationship with him, and he's a kind of a mentor in the industry. So I'm always checking in with him about recipes and what he thinks and how I can adapt and change and do things differently. But that's what I'm saying. The OGs of the state, they should be approachable, and they are. And those are the people that you want to be able to say, you know what, you've done it for a while now. I would love to get just a little nugget of information on how I can go about A, B, and C. And
Sure.
they've all been approachable, which is great.
Awesome.
So where do you stand as far as the place in Port Monmouth?
Yeah.
goes?
So right now we consider ourselves a contract brewing company,
Sure.
until we get our physical location built. We
Gypsy
are contract.
Brewers.
Yeah, Gypsy Brewers, exactly. But
Okay.
Gypsy, I think the mentality is you don't have a home and you're not looking for a home. As opposed to contract brewing, it's like a means to an end. And we definitely have our end. We've already signed the paperwork and we're well into development of our brewery right down in Port Monmouth, right along the water. We're right next to the Belford Fishing Co-op. So there are literally boats that pass us, 10 feet from the dock that we call our tasting
Nice.
room,
Nice.
which is beautiful. And you can come outside the dock and watch boats pass while you're drinking your beer. So it's going to be a lot of fun there. This summer, knock on wood that the ABC comes quickly and checks everything out and gives us the thumbs up to go. Summer should be great. But we're working hard. We've got the epoxy poured now for the floor in the brewery, and brewery equipment is set to show up Monday. So we're getting we're getting our first delivery, which is mostly tanks and brights and hot liquor tank on Monday. And then a week later, we're going to get the full brew system and cold liquor tank and all of the odds and ends that we need. And then the tasting room still needs to be built out, but that's going to be basically like a 1 month attack it and get it done. And then we should be submitting hopefully to the ABC by May to come out and approve us to get working. Hopefully that means by June or July we can be getting to work. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll definitely be up there.
Yeah, I mean,
For me down there. Yeah.
Are you? Yeah.
Yes,
I'll be up
I
there.
hope
I'll be
to
up there.
see-
You'll be down there.
I hope to see everybody often because it is something where even if you live in New York, you can take the ferry literally right to our doorstep.
C Street goes into Atlantic Highlands.
We have the Belford ferry that's right there, and it goes to Manhattan, and then it comes right back to a walkover bridge that they are building right to our doorstep. So, yeah,
That's sweet.
the mayor of Middletown could not have been better and more accommodating for us. We originally signed on in Red Bank, and we were there for 2 years building out the firehouse over in Red Bank, and ran into problem after problem. And I think Red Bank could care less whether they have a brewery that comes to their town.
That is a shame.
Whereas Middletown couldn't love it enough. He called us into the office and we were like, oh no, we're going to get written the riot act here, about what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And he sat us down and the first words out of his mouth were, I love it. I love the idea. I love the concept. I love craft beer and I want to support you guys in any way possible. So
Nice.
that was all we needed to hear to kind of hit the ground running and get excited about our Middletown / Port Monmouth location.
Getting the town behind you is always huge. We've heard it a few times here and there, even from, we've had a few of the Rhode Island brewers on because I used to live up there. And when you can get the town on board,
makes your
that's a
job so
beautiful
much
thing.
easier
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you're not fighting through the slog that typically is everything to get your place opened. It's more along the lines of just expediting things and getting
But
things done quick.
what's great is we're hearing this more and more, which means municipalities are starting to understand that having a brewery there brings people in.
Brings tourism, yeah. I mean,
And
it's a tourist.
Yeah, it's not just the brewery, it's the businesses around the brewery, it's the restaurants around the brewery, the shops around the breweries that actually, there's a payoff there.
Sure.
So that's where I think I benefit because I have so many connections with restaurants and I want to promote restaurants. I don't want it to be come spend 6 hours at our brewery, go home and never spend any time at the restaurants around the area. No. I want people going over there, enjoying those restaurants and still having a couple tap lines over there that are raw so they can continue drinking our beer. But it's cohesive and we want the back and forth. And I want to be able to support those restaurants.
And if I may be controversial for a second here, the restaurant lobby has tried so hard to keep craft beer down. where all you get a brewery into a town, the restaurants actually do benefit from that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
It's more people in the town. I mean, and more
Yeah.
people that want to spend time in that town, not just get
Mhm.
in and get out.
or they even if because the one rule is if you're a brewery, you can't have food,
Right.
right? And the restaurant lobby has made sure that breweries can't have any kind of food whatsoever. You're not even allowed to have a food truck on your property.
You
Some-
are. You are, but it's not supposed to be your property. It has to be public
Yeah,
property that the
that's what I
food
was gonna
truck is
say.
on.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not
what I was
allowed
gonna
to
say.
advertise that the food truck is there, but the food truck is allowed to say they're there. And the caveat here in Middletown is that the Middletown Township can advertise that the food truck is there. And that is what the mayor is going to do.
That's
He
awesome.
goes, I want to be able to have a food truck festival down there every weekend.
There
So
you
he
go.
goes, I'm going to set up a food truck festival down the street. And now there's
Every
a
weekend. Every
line of
weekend.
5 food trucks. And now you can walk
Leading
back and
right
forth.
to Ross Brewing.
That's
That's
great.
it.
But
That's
we're
what I love.
not allowed to say that, so we won't. Well, we're allowed to say it.
We can say it. He
You
can't say
can't.
it. We can say
You're
it.
not. We'll say it
There
for you.
may or may not this summer be food trucks. I don't know.
You cannot confirm nor deny
That's
that
it.
fact.
Yeah.
But
great.
that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, there's so many. There's a bunch of breweries that will have food trucks outside the brewery, only because it's not their property.
Yeah.
John, you're good friends with one of those breweries.
Mhm.
Where it's somewhere in Ocean County. It's right outside their door, but it's not their property. So
Right.
because if you lease your space from someone else, you can have a
Right.
food truck right outside your door.
Yeah, it's not your property. It's the
Exactly.
lease landlord's property, and the landlord can have whatever he wants on his property.
There you go.
Exactly.
So that's a beautiful thing.
At the end of the day, I get it from the restaurant lobby's point of view to a point, because
To a
look,
point.
they paid $500, $600, $700,000 sometimes for their liquor license because
More.
they're commodities in New Jersey where they're not in other states. And that's
Sure.
the big difference. You go down to Tampa, there's a flat fee that you pay for a liquor license, and nobody's fighting. Everything's cohesive down there. You can literally go and enjoy the best food and the best drink and have transportation from one place to another. It's what I would love to see in the future for New Jersey. It's just, these bus tours that go to different locations.
Oh, I hope that
And-
was empty.
No, I caught it. It's right here.
Oh, I
It's a
thought it
hot
was your
sauce,
beer
yeah.
glass.
One of the hot sauces. Yeah. So, which we'll get to later. But there are bus tours down in Tampa,
Tampa
where
Brew Bus.
and they just have designated times that they go to all the different locations. Great food at each one. You don't need to worry about a thing. And when you're drinking, what's the thing you need to do? You need to put some food in your stomach. It's just
Absolutely.
logical. It's responsible.
What do you think
Rob-
I eat during the? This is why I eat during the show.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
before
here.
the show. He eats
'Cause
during the show.
We had one show
You
where
heard the intro to the this one.
Yeah, I was eating meatballs.
That's a
we actually
common
had one
occurrence.
show where I was running late. I was stuck in traffic. I didn't get a chance to eat, and by the end of the show, according to John, I was snoring because I had passed out.
Well, it was a different. That was also a different situation too.
Well,
We
I had
had,
the equivalent of 5 beers and a triple bourbon, but
right.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's a good night. So
It was
Rob
late.
Taylor is commenting. He's a California guy. So we've got.
Yeah, I was just going to put that
California
up
guy.
too. He said, "Hey, I know this PJ dude." So
Yeah,
Rob
yeah,
Taylor,
yeah.
so.
so how do you know Rob Taylor? Tell us how you know Rob.
Rob,
4 grams of burgers is nice.
he does lots of online gaming and then does video sharing for his online gaming, and he's a part of EGT as well. So I let him share his online videos all the time in there, and we've just become friendly. He's a good dude out there on the West Coast.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. That was good. I was going to say too. You're talking about Dave was talking about beer tourism before. We were talking about Chuck Aaron, and up in Hackettstown. Technically, Chuck's in
Bud Lake.
Bud Lake, Mount Olive,
Lake,
right on. It's like all that, like a 3-corner right there. So
Yep.
But between Jersey Girl and Zig and Manskirt, you're kind of that same situation there too now, because Carton's not too far away from you,
Belford.
and Belford's right there too.
So I said to a friend of mine in the industry, I said, before we really set roots in Port Monmouth, I felt it was kind of my duty to reach out to Augie and just, kind of smooth the waters and make sure things were good.
I'm
And-
sure he was thrilled.
Of course. And my buddy said, really? What do you have to like kiss the ring? And I said, that's not what it is. I think it's respect. And Augie's been in the industry a long time.
No comment. No comment.
I know. Everybody knows Augie. Augie's been on my show for EGT a couple of times. Augie is a big personality, we'll say that. But I'm sure he loved every minute of it.
Sure.
But to me, it's what I would like to see in the beer industry, which is not asking permission, just letting you know that this is the situation, and let's be partners in trying to send people our way and your way. When they come to our brewery, we're going to have a sign right in our tasting room that gives you the mileage to some of our favorite breweries. And it's going to point you in those directions. It's another Tampa or California thing that I really enjoy. It just advertises the the people around you, that you can make your own bus tour, because we can't do the bus tours here.
Is it going to be like that in the MASH sign?
It's going to be a stanchion with like the arrows that give you the mileage.
MASH sign,
like a MASH. Yeah, nice.
Exactly, yeah.
Brian Brian just said he thinks "kiss the ring" is accurate.
See, I said it for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, again, back to no comment.
Yeah, well, I will give comment. I've known the guy 10 years. I'm close with him, but I get it. You know, he's a big personality in the industry, and people have their their thoughts. But at the end of the day, he has guided me not only in beer, but also in weight loss when I'm trying to lose my weight. And he's helping me out, telling me the things I should and shouldn't eat and when I should. And he's a wealth of knowledge too. He definitely is. And he knows he is.
Oh yeah, I remember when you went on that journey and slimmed down. You put your first picture up. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
You did a hell of a job there.
As the roller coaster goes, it goes up and it goes down. But
it's been really difficult over the last year. I mean, come on, I
lost 60 during COVID, which is probably the best I could hope for.
That might be a record.
60. Yeah, I've lost 60 during COVID, but only because I did a competition with 30 other people and try to challenge them.
Was Charlie in that? Because I know he lost quite a bit.
He wasn't, but he was in the first competition 3 years ago that we did. Yeah. He said the second time, he goes, look, I know how to lose it. I just don't know how to keep it off. So he goes, I'll lose it.
Who does?
I'll lose it for the 90 days, but then I'll end up gaining double it when I'm eating double the meat that I need to eat just to get himself back to normal. But
the barbecue you had last Saturday. I don't know.
I gotta have some. I'm a social
barbecue.
Yes, I'm a social person. I need to have some semblance of an event.
Sure.
So even if it's only 5 people in my backyard and they come in through the gate and we don't walk through my house, we're having Wagyu smash burgers. We're having
that's what it was.
Duck fat hot dogs. It was
good.
insane. And the meat artisan that sends me all of this stuff, he sent me enough that I had it for the next 4 days in a row with all different people, because I'm sharing it with my family, my friends. And now I need to have salads for the rest of the week.
I was going to say, you got to make up for it now.
I'll say one thing. EGT actually wound up sending me. So my first COVID vaccination, actually both my COVID vaccinations were down in Manahawkin. But the first one was over the weekend. So afterwards, being down there, I'm like, oh, Big Barlow's Barbecue's right here.
Yeah,
I know them, and I know them from EGT.
Yeah.
So we wound up at Big Barlow's Barbecue.
How'd you like it? Was it good?
What was it that we had that was just absolutely was? Well, God, their loaded fries are just insane.
Oh, the Barlow fries with the truffle parm on top.
Oh my, no, the one that's got the pulled pork and
pulled pork. Okay, so yeah,
that one. That one, the barbecue fries.
Yep.
That their pulled pork is phenomenal.
And their brisket is it's so unique. If you have the brisket, it's coffee rubbed, which is this Black 6 coffee. It's just a special rub. But holy cow, if you like peppery, dark coffee flavor, bitter coffee flavor, you'll love it.
Well, and there's not too many places you can go where the owner is going around to every table making sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he took his time at every single table. So that was nice. But again, learn that from EGT.
Good.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I want to do. People go to Jack's Goal Line Stand because they support us and we support them and we do a lot
Sure.
with them.
Yep.
Blend on Main. I can't say enough times that I've worked with those guys in Manasquan, and he's been so good. He's been so good to the community in general. I mean, he did Chef Lou's Army and thousands and thousands of meals donated during COVID. So he deserves every bit of the support. So if you can get out to Manasquan, go to Blend on Main.
So John, are we ready to get into the EGT portion of the talk?
I think so. When we open up our second beers and then get
Yeah.
to the EGT.
Yeah,
portion.
I'm ready.
I'm ready for my. Well, have I finished? Well, see, my first, I poured a double. I poured 2 cans. So I'm gonna.
That's a
And
good way
then
to
the
go.
reason being is John will tell you I usually drink faster.
Hey, look
than
who's
everybody
here.
on the show.
Hey, look at that.
Who's here?
Mr. Ross Brewing himself.
there's
Mr. Ross Brewing himself. Howdy, fellas.
Yes,
How you
sir.
doing? How you doing, John? Cheers.
Cheers! I just finished my my
John,
first beer.
I enjoyed a Shrewsbury. John enjoyed a Shark River Pills. And then our Beer Samurai had our Meet Me at the Snack Shack. So we've had 3 tasty Ross selections so far.
Yes, and I'm gonna go into a fourth.
Me too.
The fourth beer. Why don't you show us what you're drinking first, PJ?
All right, cool. So this is my baby. I've been working on this for 7 years. I called it Monkey Bread Stout, and Monkey Bread
Okay.
was
I know which one you're going
basically
to.
yeah. So that was basically my homage to like cinnamon roll stouts or like anything of that nature. When I was growing,
of sorts.
yeah. So it is. This is pastry style without being sweet. So it is not a pastry stout.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what I did with this was when I was growing up, we would every Christmas open up our presents, have breakfast, and then make monkey bread as like a family. And it would be something that we would do. So that was something that I always remembered about growing up. And when those flavors to me just spoke to home. And when I was thinking of a recipe of a nice, dark, rich, viscous stout that I wanted to do, I said, I want to do a monkey bread stout. So I did monkey bread stout for a couple of years. And when I came to Ross, I said, I want to do monkey bread stout, but I don't want that to be the base of everything that I do stout wise. So I pulled the cinnamon out. And now we're doing Brooks Royale, which is our Belgian chocolate stout.
It's a beautiful
So-
label, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that one thing that we try to do right now is work hard on the imaging and the marketing and the labels and the shelf talkers. And we want people walking into places and learning about the beer a little bit, which is great.
Sure.
It's kind of the wine idea of beer. You got shelf talkers on there that tell you what the notes are that you can expect, what the pairings are that you could drink it with. And I think an educated consumer expects better out of the beer because they know what the heck they're getting, and then they're more excited about drinking it. So Brooks Royale is a Belgian chocolate stout, which means we used Belgian yeast. It is actually a Belgian finish on the stout.
I need to find this.
What's that? You need to find it? Yeah.
I need to find that. Yeah.
If you can't find it in a store, I may have another bottle. I'll take care of you. So yes, it's a Belgian finish. It is 11.7%, but it drinks like 8. It seriously doesn't have the booze quality that you would expect.
No heat to it, huh?
Yeah.
No heat. I took 2 barrels and I put them in Maker's Mark barrels. So those in the future we will be
Nice.
releasing as the barrel aged version. But in the meantime, this came out exactly as I was looking for. So I took Belgian chocolates and put them in the mash. I put Belgian chocolates in the secondary as well. I took cacao nibs, put them in the secondary. We have vanilla. So we've got layers upon layers upon layers. Molasses was in the boil, so you'll have a nice, rich
Ooh.
molasses darkness to it. So when you drink it, I urge you to chill it, take it out for 5 minutes, let it warm just the tiniest bit, and then drink it slowly so you get all the different flavors as you take those sips.
With everything you said that's in it, I'm hearing creaminess.
Creamy. We slow rolled the carb, which is another thing since we bottled it. We didn't overcarb it, but we slow rolled it. So you basically get a very nice creamy head. The mentality of a creamy beer without putting lactose. I mean, we have a small amount of lactose in a big beer. So it's
Which-
almost there just for body, not for sweetness.
And I appreciate that because I've said it on the show before. Lactose in a stout is kind of like salt on food.
Yeah,
You know,
it's an accent.
it
You shouldn't
enhances-
be.
yes.
It's an enhancement. It's not a
Yes.
flavor. It's not a flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
if I get that kind of like kind of film graininess on the back of my throat afterwards,
Yeah.
I know they've used too much lactose.
If it's a texture difference, you've used too much lactose. So
bingo, absolutely.
personally, I like it to be something that kind of enhances, doesn't overpower. Some places use too much lactose, and then you're like, oh my God, that's all I taste. And now I forget that all the other flavors are things I should be focused on, you know? But
No, again, I'm back to no comment.
No comment. Yeah, I know. But
I don't name names. I love every brewery in New Jersey. And
Absolutely.
How do you know we were laughing about
funny
a
you just
brewery
went
in
to New Jersey.
Yeah, right.
Brian says, good thing he poured it well. Pressure was on there. Yeah, so I got a nice little head going on.
Just going to have a couple of comments here. Yeah, John had said 2 weeks in a row with you gents. Cheers.
Nice.
Matt's having a can of virtual learning. I will be in a minute, Matt. I'll be joining.
Oh, very good. Thank
and
you,
he
Matt.
still hasn't cracked his bottle of Brooks Royale yet.
Yeah.
So
Brian
Brian
was
just
there
had ice
during
cream.
brew day. Pour this over ice cream, and I guarantee
There
it's
you
the best
go.
ice cream you've
It's
ever had.
rare that we can get Brian to drink during the show.
I know.
Oh, yeah?
One of these days.
One of these days. Well, no, he actually drank the first couple of shows, and then
He did the first
Then he
couple,
started
but-
making dinner while we did the show.
Oh,
so
his
changed up.
priorities are
Exactly.
screwed up.
Exactly.
So, well, we already know what your second beer is, John. So you might as well pour
So I
it.
might as well pour it right there. I'm going to be drinking virtual learning.
Nice. Look at that can. Look at the holograms.
Look
That
at
is-
the
that is
holograms.
beautiful.
Can you see it in the?
Is that one of those like where you have to cross your eyes and an image comes out of it?
It is not, but it would be funny if it was a
Magic.
schooner.
It's a magic
It
icon.
should have
fun.
it should have been an homage to Mallrats, because we have
There you go.
connections with the guys there. You know, Ming,
Really?
who owns a Shared Universe podcast studio. He is a member of the Kevin Smith group. You know, so yeah, we should have done a schooner isn't a
And
boat.
if you were,
Maybe I'll do
go ahead.
a beer in the future that's called a schooner isn't a boat, or a schooner is a boat.
A schooner is a boat. There you go.
You better kiss the ring first.
That's it. Yeah, I can't say anything else about boat. We did ice boat, and that was an issue.
And
So
that
that
was
was,
an issue.
interesting. But
Right there, look at that. Beautiful.
There. Oh, that is pretty.
That's very pretty. Oh, great nose.
Has great nose feel.
Great nose feel.
That's
tasty.
We've got a few
That's really
terms
nice.
we tend to propound on
yeah.
on the show, and one is nose feel.
nose feel, yeah.
That's a friend who has shown up to the bottle shares at Brian's. He proclaims to not know a damn thing about craft beer, but always shows up with the best bottle. And he likes
Like
to
clockwork almost every time.
almost every time, and he likes to make fun of us by going, "Oh, this has got a great nose feel to it." So we think this should be a term.
He's not mistaken. He's just making fun of us.
Yeah,
Well,
he's making
okay, I
fun of
got
us.
you. I mean, if you dip your nose in the foam, you're getting some nose feel.
You're getting some
there
nose
is-
feel,
There is
absolutely.
some nose feel.
Well,
There.
he's got a point. If there's a mouth feel, there should be a nose feel
Nose
because
feel,
let's
exactly.
face it, the nose has almost as many taste buds as the mouth, right?
Exactly.
You smell before you taste, and if the smell
Yep.
is good, you're excited to drink, which means your whole experience is going to be better.
Absolutely.
So we support his teasing as actual science.
Sure. So, John, what did you think about that one?
It's delicious. It really is. It's got a nice bitters to it for an IPA, for a New England IPA.
Where's the crawl, John? You normally put the crawl up.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Oh, he is.
There
Oh.
you
Drinking
go.
beer.
No, there's so many comments right now. I was just on the comments page. There you go. There's the crawl.
There it
There's
is.
the crawl. But yeah, it's definitely not. It's an 8.1. It's not drinking. I'm thinking a 6. So it's hiding it a bit. So it's really nice.
Nice.
It's got the hops are playing really nice. And what hops are in there?
So I did this one at Cypress. We took extra time in the tank, and the way I feel about New England's is I don't want to send it out a day early. I would rather send it out when it's ready to go. And that's that you don't get the jet engine fuel at the end, or the hop green that you sometimes get, where you just want it to settle out a little bit more. But we used We used a couple of different hops. We used Amarillo. We used what used to be Denali, which is now Sultana. And we used Citra on the back end as dry hop, which you would expect. But then we used my favorite hop of all time, which is also in the pills. And you've had both, which is Laurel. So the Laurel combination with Citra now gives you that real juicy flavor, but then with a finish of a little earthy hop, a little earthy floral.
Nice earthiness in the finish there. It's really nice. Dave will tell you lately my new hop du jour, if you will. I'm a whore for Sabro lately.
Yeah, Sabros.
So I have something to tell both of you then. The next beer that I am doing in my NEPA avenue that I'm going now will be a lactose NEPA, so it'll be a milkshake, and I'm doing a honeydew melon coconut NEPA with Sabro and Strata.
Are you putting coconut in it, or just taking the coconut that the Sabro throws?
No. Enhance that coconut. Elevate the
point,
coconut.
Though. I don't want to go against the hop profile. I want to kind of take it and cater to the flavors that I'm putting in there. So yeah, I'm doing honeydew melon because you can find that in Strata. And I am going with coconut because you find that in Sabro. So, and also a little vanilla because vanilla is also found in Sabro. So
and lactose will enhance that.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a beer I'm going to have to drink a couple 4-packs of.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, until you wrap your head around the whole thing. It's research.
It's research.
And Matt said Cypress just released a Sabro IPA. Yes, they did.
The marketing whore right there.
I love it, man. He supports the places that he goes to.
Absolutely.
Did Melavino do a coconut recently? Because I'm sure that Melavino did something delicious as well.
I'm sure he can talk Sergio into doing a coconut IPA mead.
Matt can talk Sergio into doing anything. So.
Sergio is a genius because that guy can make meads taste like anything, and he can make a mead taste like a stout or a mead taste like an IPA. That dude is skilled. I love working with him.
We were just up
there.
That
is an understatement right there.
We were just up there a week and a half ago and had the Guinness mock, the mock Guinness or whatever. And
I still haven't had that.
Seriously, it's so much like a Guinness, it's ridiculous that that's a mead. It's really
so. When you tell me it's a mead, I can focus on it and get the idea that it's a mead. But holy cow, he makes a good representation of what a beer mead is. I mean,
I was so happy we're walking around. Guess it was Weehawken, and actually found a bottle of Garrido from the last run, which is one of my favorite meads he puts out because it's one of the driest meads he makes.
Oh yeah.
Such a beautiful mead.
The drier the better for me. I love dry finish meads and dry finish ciders.
Sure.
Ciders to me. I used to be a big Crispin cider fan.
Oh yes.
Because they make dry style meads, and they also do like London ale style dry meads and stuff. I love it because I don't want it to be sweet and overbearing and Angry Orchard-ish,
I can't stand a cloying mead. It's when they're dry like that, that's perfect.
Well, that's why I like a lot of the what you're saying. You guys are saying meads, you mean ciders. Because we were talking meads here, talking ciders. That's why I like pear ciders.
Well, we were talking about meads. I said mead, but I said mead. I like a drier mead is my point. But
but there's also drier ciders. That's why I like the pear meads, and also the Granny Smith, because the Granny Smith has that kind of little bit of bitterness to it that cuts into the sweetness of the mead. Right. But it's time for me to open my second.
Why don't you open your second?
Now with your rivers.
Yes.
There's so I grew up on the Manasquan. Crabbing off of a deck, off a dock in what was it, Chapman's Marina in Bricktown when I was a kid. I went to Rutgers, so there's the Raritan River. So you've represented both those rivers.
Yeah.
But now I live in Kearney, so I had to go with
Passaic Porter.
Right. Nice. So it's a honey porter.
So right off the bat, no, it is not used with Passaic Porter with Passaic River water.
Well, I was going to say it mimics the same color as the Passaic River.
It is about the same color.
I grew up 2 blocks from the Passaic River up the hill.
Yeah. I've had so many people that are familiar with the Passaic. Oh, did you use Passaic water?
It's a tough river to name a beer after.
But,
You know, I have
think
to question I got to question your marketing acumen on that on this point.
no, well, I mean, naming
So
it
here's
after naming
the
it a
thought
porter,
behind it.
naming a porter Passaic was
It's
perfect.
dark,
So
but
It
here's
works.
the thought.
It's alliterative as well. And if you notice, I poured it into. There's a drink local. Can you see? It's the drink local Jersey thing.
there you go.
Nice. It touches the Passaic touches 32 towns. So
There's some places where it's nice and clean.
no, but it's nice to be able to go to those 32 towns and say, here's a beer that speaks to you and is for you. And people love it. They love to feel a part of the story.
Well, not for nothing. I also, for quite a while, and all my kids were born when I was living in Lincoln Park, and the Passaic River is one of the rivers that floods the hell out of that town.
Yeah.
So
It's also cleaner in Lincoln Park than it is in Kearney. So the Passaic River.
Yeah, by the time it gets down here, it has flowed. It has seen some shit by the time it gets down here.
Yeah,
figuratively and possibly literally.
Brian just said, yes, please, no Passaic River water, but no Raritan River water either.
So that
this
porter
is a nice roasty porter.
Yeah, that porter has a lot of dynamic to it. We got a lot of different layers in that one too. It's 6.1%, so it's not a heavy style porter.
Nope.
It is not supposed to be crazy thick or anything, but it is made with honey, so the honey dries it out just a tiniest bit. You get a little dry on the finish. But it's got layers of roastiness and nuttiness and dark roasty porter style.
That's awesome.
So, did you go more classic British style porter or?
Yep. Yeah. We went more on the English style of porters. That's why we went a little bit drier with that one. But I like it as a base to be able to play with it. So there's going to be a couple of different things that come out that we can use this, substitute the honey, put in caramel instead, and now change the flavor profile there, and then do some things with. Hazelnut.
You could play with this thing.
Oh, sure.
So you got British hops in here.
That one there, yes, we do. We have Fuggle in there.
That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah, so. That one to me was written before I came, but I just kind of tweaked a little bit and
massaged it a bit.
Yeah.
That
one, it's pretty much where we wanted it. It was kind of everything we hoped it would be a couple of years ago, and they've kind of kept it the same way there. 6.1.
I'm struggling now because I've always had my favorite porter. One of my favorite porters, hands down, is a New Jersey porter.
Yeah.
That would be Manskirts. And you're making me question that.
Wow.
Good. I like it. It doesn't have to be something you choose better, but alongside. If it's alongside
it's right
your
there.
favorite.
And for my untapped check-in, I'm going to do this whole thing to get everybody in there. There we go. Because that's going to have to go up in there. We do that every now and then on the show. Take a picture of the screen for the untapped check-in, because John and I both forget to check in the beers that we've had on the show sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yeah.
Brian Altschul says, "Hey, it's a group of Mets fans. It's not usual, right, to get us all in one room."
Yes, it is. Group of Mets fans right here on the show, and hey, first place, baby.
And
first place.
You're looking at three guys who have known some serious pain, and suffering, and disappointment.
Exactly.
And almost like we're a beaten down child. We just expect bad. We just even when things are good, if you're in the Met groups, they still talk doom and gloom, and we're 7-4. And I try to inspire and lift people up, and I'm like, guys, we have new ownership. We have a whole new vibe, a new thing going on.
You've seen my comments on your comments in that one particular group we're talking about. I'm like, these guys, I swear, I'm seriously believing that half of them are Yankees fans that just want to start shit.
I tell you what, though.
I really do believe it.
Family Guy nailed the Mets fan psyche.
Yeah.
There is, and
it's the start of a new season, and the season's over.
The first pitch, crack, and it's out of there, and the season's over, and Stewie leaves the stadium.
Yep.
I don't know why they made Stewie a Mets fan. Because it's supposed to take place in Rhode Island, but that was. And the thing is, any other fan base would have looked at it and go, "Hey, why are you making fun of us?" The Mets fans are like, "Yeah, that's about right."
That's pretty much right. Yeah. But quick question for you. On that note, football team.
Oh, Giants.
Right. I knew it. I just wanted you to tell it.
We
Three
got
Giants fans too.
But you're a Devils fan, right?
I am. Yeah. And that's a family thing where my father got tickets for the inaugural season of the Devils when I was just 1 year old.
Oh, where they had the green in the
and used
I like
to
those
take
uniforms
us
better, by the way. So
he used to
The
own
Christmas
he used to own a limousine company, and some of the better clients that he would give tickets to for games. So it would kind of be like a little reward system for him.
sure.
And he used to take us to 15, 20 games a year. Brendan Byrne Arena, back when we were just running around the top row of Brendan Byrne.
Because its seats are all empty.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that too. The 80s were a sad time in Devils history. So
Well,
Yeah,
that's
they
when Gretzky referred to them as a Mickey Mouse organization, did he not?
and there was
And then
really
became-
no arguing against it. You know,
And
it
then he
kinda
became
was.
didn't he become like part owner of the Ducks, which was a actual
Yeah,
Mickey
Mickey
Mouse
Mouse
which was
organization?
literally Disney owned.
Quite
Yeah.
literally a Mickey Mouse organization.
Funny how things change. But then as I was growing up, 90s and 2000 early 2000s were
Sure.
like the heart of the Devils, you know.
You had to love it. I mean,
Seasons.
you know. Yeah.
It was so much fun, you know, 95, 2000, 2003. And now we've kind of hit the doldrums again, and
Right.
it's not exactly
So you're one of those people that hate the name Stefan Matteau.
yeah. Well, you know what?
Except for his kid, because his kid then played for the Devils.
Yeah, but he stunk. He was not good.
I think
Don't hold back.
his father probably told him, "Yeah, you can't play for these guys.
Yeah,
Please,
yes.
please,
You're
please
still a Ranger in the heart. Just be terrible.
Oh, yeah.
So the one thing I did want to bring up on here, you know, we're running deep into the show, was that
Matt's a Sharks fan. Not surprising at all. No.
I had a
not
Shark starter jacket in the 90s because that was just a cool thing to do.
yeah, and they have and just the way they enter the rink is just phenomenal.
Out of the
big
Shark's
shark
mouth.
Yeah, that's cool.
it's
And they
very
had
cool.
one of their goalies had one of the coolest damn helmets ever, because it was like he was peering out of a shark's mouth.
Sharks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we got to give that one to you. We're not going to argue with you on that one, Matt.
So let's talk about essential guy talk.
Essential guy talk. Before we go there, though, during the pandemic, I mean, you called Sergio a genius, but there's certain things that happened during the pandemic where I'm like, PJ's a goddamn genius. And that was and I'm drinking this, Meet Me at the Snack Shack. And when you say Snack Shack, you typically think of a drive-in movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah, I mean,
and
you know what? Survival will make you do whatever the hell you
Absolutely,
need to do. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. You either sink or swim.
But there's, some people that they get put into these situations, they're just going to curl up in a ball, rock back and forth, and repeat their mother's name.
It's not
That's not you.
nature, so
no, it's you. You take a challenge, you run with it. Again, we said earlier, 2 feet straight in.
Yep.
And you came up with this concept to bring people back out to the movies.
Yeah. So you know what? I have connections in the wedding industry because I own a wedding DJ company for the last 12 years. And it's Essential Sounds Entertainment. This is where Essential kind of was born. So Essential Sounds Entertainment was, everything that I have done for the last 12 years. That's been the heart and soul of our family and kind of what pays the bills. And also I DJ, 70, 80 weddings a year for the last 10 years. Obviously weddings stalled and stopped. So we weren't going to be doing weddings anymore. At least for the short term, we didn't know how long this was going to rage on, but I had a couple of friends who were in a production company who was a really high-end production company that did things for the Barclays Center for New Year's, for Central Park concerts, concerts all over the country.
That's high-end, yeah.
Really high-end stuff. And they are sitting in a warehouse with nothing to do. They have their multi-million dollars worth of equipment just sitting there doing nothing. And I proposed to them, dude, if I can use you, can you give me a great rate so I can put you guys to work and put you out there doing movies and things like that? And they said 100%. We'll give you pennies on the dollar for the price. We'll get out there and we'll start working again. So I created Back to the Movies Drive-Ins, which basically was a play on Back to the Future. Had the logo, that was kind of intertwined with Back to the Future. And I started advertising this as this is going to be the way that you get back to watching movies and the way that you enjoy yourself in the summertime, safe and social distance. And thankfully, I've got a buddy that works for News 12. He decided to do a feature on it. And once he did a feature on it, I got called by Fox. I got called by NBC, ABC, CBS, News 12 again. That probably 15 interviews by news stations saying, here's a new company that's adapting with what's going on in COVID.
You posted a few of those interviews, did you?
Yeah, it was so much fun. But you know what? The next 3 months, I never worked so hard because I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to 27 messages from town coordinators, mayors, people that are important in their towns that wanted to have events in the town. And there's so many loopholes that you need to jump to be able to do an event in a town, socially distant, with bathrooms set up, with the correct police presence, all of the different craziness that needs to happen. But also do it in a small, concentrated time period to be able to get this done next month for your town. So I was on Zoom calls with multiple mayors of towns, with city council, with people that I never thought I would be in meetings with. And I'm there at 10 o'clock in the morning talking to the entire board about what we can do and how we can excite your town during the scariest time of people's lives, because they just didn't know what was going on. So not only did we do movies, but I got the idea, all right, we're doing movies. Let's talk to schools and let's do graduations. I was figuring if I'm a senior, I'm miserable because we don't have any graduation plans. We don't have any way to celebrate our achievement. It's a huge, momentous milestone that you get to when you're 18. So we created the drive-in graduation. And we did 15 drive-in graduations, with 10 of them being Jewish schools in either Brooklyn or in North Jersey. And once one of them heard about it, then they all brought us on.
Wow.
And it ended up snowballing on itself and becoming just a gigantic thing. And all the graduations went so well that they're still reaching out to us now. I stopped doing drive-in movies because of all of the red tape that there is to deal with the movie studios to get the rights to play the movies and all of that. Now that things are loosening up, they're being a lot more stringent on the licensing that they give you. So I didn't want to deal with that headache anymore, but I will do drive-in graduations for people. And Rutgers Prep reached out to us because we did theirs last year, and Yavna School and Maya Note. And there's so many of these schools that just said, you know what, you're offering a product that nobody else is offering. I don't care how much it costs. We need to have you. And it became like a prime thing for people to do. Instead of me trying to sell it, they were trying to sell me on why I needed to come to their town, which was really, really cool.
That's a good problem to have,
Awesome.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Exactly. I was
kudos
to that idea, because that was awesome.
Yeah, I was so impressed when you started touting that. And had I not been in exile up in Rhode Island, I would have been at one of those drive-ins.
It was a lot of fun.
Dave escaped New Jersey for the pandemic, and then he came back. That was it.
And you do realize Sergio Matella actually blamed me for the pandemic in New Jersey
on the show. He blamed him for it.
He said you left, and look what happened.
Yeah.
It's funny because I moved to Rhode Island, and within a month, everything was on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I come back to New Jersey and things are starting to open up again. So
we thought about it, and there was the common factor. Dave left New Jersey. Boom, had to be him. Yeah.
So what I got to take solace in was my kids got to see drive-in movies in the middle of the fairgrounds, close to where we live. And the screen was the Giant Stadium Jumbotron come down to the field. So it was literally that same quality screen. You could do 3 o'clock movies, bright daytime, no problem. And we did things like for the family during the day. And then at nighttime, we would do like Star Wars, or we would do Avengers Endgame. And it was so cool seeing this happen. And I was just sitting there going, you know what? Best out of a bad situation. That's what this is.
And you've got 2 youngins, right?
I do. I have a 6-year-old who will be 7 in July, a little boy named Liam, and then a 2-year-old who just turned 2 in March. Her name's Nora.
Beautiful.
Oh, and she's adorable.
Thank
she
you.
is. Yeah, she is.
She's a handful
We-
now. She's got so much personality, and she don't like to be told no about anything. She
Oh,
is,
no.
it's
Yeah.
it's a girl, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how I'm going to do this when she gets older.
Well, I have 2 girls, so I can.
John,
Yeah.
how do you handle this?
Get a
You
shot.
see-
I
you see this
say
gray
no
beard?
to her. Yeah,
You see this
exactly.
gray beard? There you go.
This will be gray before I know it. I'm sure because I
I'm
say
surprised
no,
yours-
and
I'm
she
surprised
gives
yours
me
isn't
the
great yet.
yeah. I'm
Oh.
I'm stressed out every day about what I need to do to keep this girl safe, but also understand that Daddy's not the meanest person in the world,
Well,
and he's going to say yes to some things too.
You got time because my girls are 27 and 24, so you got. plenty
Oh,
of time.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's why
Actually,
it's gray.
Yeah, exactly.
My grades my grades are actually from my boys.
Yeah.
My 2 oldest are boys.
They will give you some gray hairs as well.
And my son my son will be 21 in October, so he's contributed to this, but
Yeah.
lately actually he's contributing more to it. So I'll put it that way. So,
We won't get into that.
Yeah.
So
but,
now on to EGT.
yes, EGT.
Yes. All right. So,
So
EGT
Yeah, how was it born?
all right. It was born in 2013. It was Essential Sports Talk Radio.
I remember
It was
that.
on a radio station called Cosmic Radio. It was an internet radio company, and they were looking for lots of different styles of programs to fill their airwaves. And me and AJ Bufumo kind of came together right away. He was kind of my perfect yin to the yang because I am craft beer guy, drinks bourbon, does all of this stuff, and he is Mr. Straight Edge, does nothing. He's as as good as it gets. And it was a good dynamic, and we played well off of each other and had just such a good time. He's got this big, hilarious laugh, and he's a semi-pro wrestler and stuff. So it was a good combo. And we kind of burnt out on that internet radio because it just wasn't run well. I was somebody who'd never run an internet radio program before, so there were a lot of issues there. But the concept was good, and we got a fan base because of it. But we wanted to get a little bit more broad than just sports, so that's why we determined let's do Essential Guy Talk instead of Essential Sports Talk Radio. So once we went to Guy Talk, we opened up to so many different avenues, so many different people tuned in that we never would have expected would be interested in Guy Talk. And 40% of our fan base is women, which is a beautiful thing because who better to talk about guy stuff than women who want to get to know what guys like, what guys enjoy.
And not for nothing, your female fan base tends to be the lewdest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
there's one person that comes to mind, but there's it
But
really
There are
is.
many of them. There are many of them.
No,
They,
there are many of them. Yeah.
There are
and
many
you
of
know
them,
what?
but
The group of EGT, we try to keep it politic free. We try to keep it
Yep.
overly overt sexual free. But other than that, just have fun.
you
And,
have done a fantastic job of keeping it politic free. Anytime anyone
Yeah.
brings up politics, you squash it immediately.
100%. I want
And
people to know that there's really no wiggle room because look, you can go a million places for your down in the dirt conversations where you argue with people till you're red in the face or blue in the face, whatever side you support. And it's not going to get anywhere, but what it's going to do is fan the flames and get people angry. And that is not what our group is about. Our group is supposed to be about making you laugh and making things feel not so bad, especially during COVID.
And I've really got to give you your kudos on that because John knows I used to run one of the craft beer groups on Facebook that is still quite active.
Yeah.
And they are a bunch of assholes, lovingly so, and
Lovingly assholes.
lovingly assholes. And and I was the first admin for it. Who's adminning that site now? I know Scott Wells is involved in it, but to begin
Is
with,
this Let's Talk?
there would be
Juice.
Let's Talk. Yeah, it's now
I was
Craft
kicked.
Juice.
It's the only group I've ever been kicked out of in my entire life.
Did I kick you
Literally.
out of it? Did I kick
No,
you out of it?
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did. I kicked a bunch of people out. But it is really hard to herd the sheep every now and then.
Yeah.
they get
the community can be a little outrageous, and once you give them a little string to be outrageous,
They will
will
run
push
with it.
it,
To
and
run
push
with it.
it, and
Yeah,
push
forget
it.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to give any leeway because I just want people to understand. Look, when you're here, we're going to fundraise, we're going to support, we're going to do charity work, we're going to have fun, we're going to laugh, we're going to support business, but I am not going to deal with all that headache because then it will be nothing but a full-time job for me, and I don't want that.
That's why I gave it up, because
Yeah.
there was just too much sexism, racism,
Yeah, of course.
and those people got booted, and it just it never stopped.
And if you will let a little bit of it go, now all of a sudden that's what's okay in here. And if you start to enforce it later, they have an argument. They say, look,
Yep.
A, B, and C got away with it for a long time. Now you're trying to crack down. Some of my best friends in the industry are women and women of color and women of different nationality. And I don't want any of them feeling like they're less important than the rest of the people that are in my
Absolutely.
group. So from the jump, I just said, if I'm making a group and I'm going to cater to the people that are in that group, I want it to be a welcoming, positive group. I do not want this group to be making people feel like shit.
And you've
Right.
done a phenomenal job of that.
Thank you.
I'll have to say.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I could go public with the group and keep it 100,000 people really freaking quick, but then I can't control that.
No.
Then I
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
Then I'm going to get nothing but trolling all day long. We have 4,200 people, which to me, as a private group, 4,200 people,
It's
it
pretty damn
means
good
that
group.
it's a good sized group. Out of the active people, there's 3,800 out of 4,200 that are active. So to me, that says, wow, most everybody that's in there enjoys what we are and enjoys
Yep.
what we're doing. So yeah, I'm going to keep it that way. Politics are not welcome. You can talk politics on your personal page. You can talk politics on 1,000 other pages, not on EGT.
Now, you do a lot of work with businesses, local businesses on EGT, almost to a point where you could get a sponsorship considering what it's go.
I've gotten
You know.
many of the sponsorships. Like EGT is sponsored by 12 different companies.
Okay, so you do that. Okay, good.
Yeah. So there are companies in Texas, companies in California, in Florida, in Georgia that support the company, the show, and it blew my mind that they even wanted to.
John
Because
and I will have to talk to you later about all that.
so 60, 65, 70% of my audience is from New Jersey. And
Yeah.
I make no qualms about that. In New Jersey's my heart, my home. I want New Jersey people interactive. But then there's another 30% that are from around the country, like Rob Taylor and other people that are a part of EGT. But companies in Texas want to be a part of it. And at first, I didn't really understand it. And I didn't want to take a sponsorship without understanding why and what they're getting and if they're going to get their value out of it. What it turned out to be was they have online ordering and they have a lot of interest there. And they wanted to start to push their East Coast mentality. They wanted to start to get the East Coast involved in what they're doing. So I got Beard Commander involved, who is also the owner of a BC Seasonings and Rubs company. So he came on both sides, and BC for Beard Commander, but he just called it BC Seasonings and Rubs. But it was a very good sponsorship. He sponsored us for 1.5 years straight. Every quarter, he'd give us more money to the show. And I would just keep saying to him, look, I'm going to feature your stuff. I'm going to tell people about the discount code. I don't know how many people will order your product. I can't guarantee it. And he said, look, I love what you do. I love what you stand for. I'm a military vet myself, so I like the fact that you're into supporting people that need help. And I have no interest in getting a return on my investment other than being a presence on your show. And I was like,
Nice.
that's the best sponsorship you can hope for, because then
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm letting you down if for some reason a ton of people don't order your product. But guess what? We got a lot of bearded people in our group.
Yeah,
And they ordered a lot of product, and they ordered a lot of barbecue sauce as well, because everybody around here loves barbecue.
At most 60%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not bearded, the 40%, but they still like barbecue.
Yes, they. Oh, yes, they do.
They do.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Oh, geez, that's great. That's it's wonderful to hear that you got a lot of interest in the states that you're a small share in. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
It was
not
awesome.
trying to be the biggest thing in California,
Right.
but if I can get some people that watch on a consistent basis, there's no reason why a small company that's Monroy's Hot Sauce, one of my favorite people to work with. He's from Oakland, California. He has no business watching a New Jersey show, and he sponsored the show for a year and a half, paid $300 a quarter to basically say, I love what you're doing. And if I get 1 or 2 sales every quarter, I'm happy with it. It turned out that we did an EGT 10% or 15% off plus free shipping. And we got 30, 35, 40 orders from it. And that in itself made him go, I will sponsor you the rest of the year. I don't care if you sell me another $1 worth of stuff, because he just sees that there's intrinsic value in supporting other people that are like-minded and that like the same things you like and do the same things you do. And Monroy's Hot Sauce is really high quality product. So I had no problem shilling it to my group, because I would just say, guys, this is good stuff. I'm not just selling you stuff that they give me money and I'm telling you about. This is really good hot sauce.
It's worth it. Go get it.
Would you consider it one of your favorite hot sauces?
Yes. And I don't have any in my hand right now, which is the only reason I'm not showing it. But they have the Kraken. The Kraken hot sauce is one of the best tasting hot sauces that you'll ever have.
What's the chili base?
It is Ghost, and it is really freaking hot. Scorpion and Ghost.
Scorpion and Ghost. Wow.
Yeah, that's
but their spice profile is delicious. And what he does is he does a really good job of giving you that balance of taste and heat, which I say to any of the hot sauce companies that I'll represent, I need taste. I need it to taste good. If it's just meant to burn my throat out, I'm not interested. It's not for me. I like thermonuclear from Cluck U because the taste is delicious. Right. That's the one right under the waiver one, the 151, you know.
Thermonuclear used to be the waiver one.
Yeah, and then they bumped it up.
Yep.
But the thermonuclear to me just has a great flavor.
It
so
does.
I will deal with the hot, no problem, when the flavor's good. It's got to be a reward for my suffering, you know?
Now, John, did we work into a segue here?
I think we worked pretty well into a
segue.
Yes. It was pretty good, yeah. So that'll bring us to our top 3.
And it's usually you or I doing the segue, but the guest did the segue.
He did it well. That was perfect.
It's almost like I do this every once in a while.
Imagine that.
He
had the acumen to actually figure out how to segue into our top 3 list.
You'll see that we call out our segues.
Our top 3s,
nothing wrong with that either.
Our top 3s. What we did was we call it the 33s. It's a nod to 1933, another repeal of prohibition. But we figured to do top 3s instead of top 10s because top 10s would take too long.
And John and I would argue too much.
And too much, yeah. So top 3s are perfect. So
do you guys have hot sauces, or you only have one of them in your hand?
I've got one in my hand. I got my number 1 in my hand.
I've got none with me. I have them downstairs. I don't have them with me.
Womp. I'm going to try each one as I tell you.
One of them, one of my favorites, I actually used the last of the bottle 2 weeks ago.
Well, folks, if you haven't figured it out, folks, our top 3 list tonight is top 3 favorite hot sauces. So
and we figured we'd do it with PJ because PJ on EGT ran a contest at one point.
A couple of them, yeah.
A couple of them. And one of the contests to see who could handle the most heat, our producer, Brian, actually wound up winning the contest.
Yes, he's the current reigning champion.
Brian shocked the hell out of me because when you look at Brian, I just did not think he was going to be somebody who could handle the hot sauce. It might be judgy, but I just looked at him and said, nah, he's probably not going to win this.
It's absolutely fair.
Not only did he win it, he won it going away because the other 2 guys were struggling mightily. And Brian was handling things with kind of like a relaxation about him that the other guys didn't have.
Well, Brian can keep himself calm and he can control his sweat glands too. So
yes, he can. Brian can handle almost anything stoically.
Yeah. I mean, he was stone faced the whole time. Yeah. He enjoyed the flavors and things like that, but I never looked like we're about to break Brian. And I will need to bring him back and give him some of the crazy over the top hot stuff to break Brian, because now EGT needs to break our champions. But
Absolutely.
you know,
Mm.
it was impressive. He did a great job.
That was good. So, that was.
We
that
call it
was
the
a-
wheel of death, though. We have the spinning wheel,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
you spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, you taste. And it could be hot hummus, it could be extremely hot gummy bears, or it could be the toe of death was one of them, which was crazy.
I think gummy bears was one of them. I think he said, but
Gummy bears was one of them,
we heard heard
Inferno
about
gummy
it.
I watched the whole show, so I was.
Brian
I was on
said
that night, so-
definitely couldn't stop the sweating, but I could handle the heat, and I had no idea I could. See, sometimes you challenge yourself and you come
There you
out
go.
ahead and you go, you know what? I did better than I even thought I would.
And Gene Lynch just said Brian is as cool as. A
Yeah, I need to
cucumber,
take Brian
so-
on one of these days.
So we're gonna have Brian's got to be taken on. So
Right,
We'll
have
do
to-
another one. We'll
we'll have
do
to.
another one. And when we do, then you come on with him, and we'll see who can handle it the best.
we'll see how that pans. We'll see how that pans out. And we'll make it an interesting evening.
Yep.
So why don't we do our top threes? Why don't PJ? Why don't you start us off? What are your top
Yeah,
three?
sure.
Considering I froze there for a little bit, right?
You're
All
still
right, sure.
frozen.
So,
Am I?
yeah, you're for on that. You're moving just a little bit.
You're moving a little
Yeah,
bit.
not
so-
not on my end. I don't know what the hell happened. All right. So PJ, your top three.
So one of the companies out of Colorado who's been really good to me is Reaper Robs, and they are
Right in the name.
yeah, it's
Yep.
extreme small batch Colorado hot sauce. And he sent me a batch of 6 or 7 different hot sauces that I featured on the last show, and one of them just stuck out. It was really delicious. I can use it on seafood, I can use it on pizza, I can use it on all different stuff, and it just enhances. It is habanero peach mango, and it is absolutely delicious. I mean, it looks scary. It looks like it's going to be hot. It's got a good heat quotient to it, but it's not going to burn your mouth out. It's there's some sweetness on the back end that you get that kind of balances you out nicely. So that's habanero peach mango.
Habanero and peach and habanero and mango both work well together. I've not had all three together. And we spoke before the show how habanero's got that just beautiful citrus flavor to it.
Yeah. So it balances well with a great citrus flavor. So right off the bat, you get garlic, which is awesome. So you get
Nice.
the garlic right at the beginning, but then you get a little bit of heat and a little bit of citrus all at the same time. And I just
Nice.
love that. I love balance. I mean, when
Yeah.
you drink my beer, I hope what you get is balance, not, oh my God, I taste one flavor and every other flavor becomes muddled. So that's the feeling that I want you to get when you drink my beer. So I like that hot sauce. I watch UFC, and one of my favorite fighters.
We're aware.
Yeah. You see my post, I guess.
So your post.
So one of my favorite fighters is Dustin the Diamond Poirier, and he not long ago knocked out one of my favorite fighters in the last 10 years, Conor McGregor.
Oh, yes.
And Dustin Poirier has been somebody I've rooted for a long time. He's a Louisiana boy, so that means he knows Cajun spice. He knows hot sauce spice as well. He owns a hot sauce company. It is called Poirier's Louisiana Style, and it is, I would say, more on the light side for heat, but it's intense flavor, lots of flavor. And this bottle might have been a little bit more than what it should be price wise, because it's a famous person selling the liquid, 6 full ounces. But it's really good. And I put it on my eggs in the morning. I put it on my ham in the evening, tacos. It's on everything. It is a cayenne pepper, sea salt, red habanero, garlic, celery, vinegar combo, and it is done really well. And I love this, kind of like my all-purpose, and there's only a third of it left. So, but with it being 420, I had to have a cannabis infused hot sauce or a hemp seed infused hot sauce. So one of my biggest supporters for the show is Mikey V's. And Mikey V's, single-handedly supported the last hot sauce show, which is the one that Brian won, and sent me every sauce for that show. And he also just opened a taqueria, like a taco restaurant down in Georgetown, Texas. And it's become a big thing. And he's doing lives all the time. And, I love.
Is that outside of San Antonio?
Yes. Yeah. Georgetown, Texas. And he sent me 512 pot sauce.
There you go.
It is with the hemp.
Lower it on the camera a little bit so everyone can see the top of the skull. There you go. There's that 5-leaf.
Nice.
So there it is. It is absolutely fantastic. It is roasted jalapeno hemp seed. It's really tasty. It's chunky. It's not meant to blow you away. You're not going to get a ton of heat out of this, but you get a ton of flavor.
And
especially today, I think it is perfectly fitting for your 420. So there it is.
So, John,
Very
you
nice.
want to go?
No, you go next. I'll go last.
I'll go next. Okay, so I'm actually going to count down. I'm going to start with number 3. Number 3 has got a special place in my heart because it was the first ever kind of habanero sauce I ever had. Before the United States was familiar with habaneros, a type of habanero came here, Scotch bonnet. And the Chester Flea Market had a hot sauce stand. And every year I'd go and I'd ask the guy, what's the hottest thing you have? And back then we didn't know habaneros. We didn't know Scotch bonnets. There wasn't anything really scorching on the Scoville units, right? So we're talking way back. And I walked in one year and I said to him, what's the hottest thing you have? He goes, I've been waiting for you. And he pulled out a sauce. And it was a Scotch bonnet sauce. And I tried it. And it actually made me go, whoa. And he goes, wow, we got a reaction. And it was funny. It was a sauce called Hellfire and Damnation, which was one of the first Scotch bonnet sauces, i.e., habanero sauces that had made it to the U.S. And it was funny because there's this huge muscular dude there, and I'm tasting it. And this guy wants to taste it, and the guy at the booth is trying to explain to him, well, why don't you ramp up to it? Because being able to handle heat has no relation to manliness, right? We know this. It's a way you build a tolerance to the heat.
Sure,
it's got nothing to do with that.
And I know women with better tolerance than guys.
Exactly.
And a ton of them. So it's just where you're at with your taste buds.
Absolutely. But this guy thinking, he's all macho. He's going to try this right off the bat. So the guy goes, okay, well, there's the basket of chips in case you get in trouble.
Can I skip out for a minute? My wifey is asking me to get something from the car. I gotta go help her for a moment.
Go for it.
Yeah, we'll be here.
I'll be right back.
You got it.
But to finish that story, the guy, takes the little teeny tasting spoon of it, puts it in his mouth, turns beet red, his nose starts to run, his eyes start to water, he drops to his knees and he's shoveling the chips in his mouth. His girlfriend's laughing at him. The guy looks up at me and goes, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I've been eating these things for a long time, and even the guy who runs the booth goes, this guy eats jalapenos like candy. You don't want to do this.
Yeah, really.
He tried to warn him. So that has to make my list from a sentimental point of view because just there's a great story behind it.
Sure.
But if I come up to number two is something I got because I had actually ordered it from, I think, a Mojada Bobetta, which was a Jersey company, right? And I got it because of the name. Back in the day when I was married, we had 2 iguanas, these like 6.5 foot long iguanas. So I had ordered this one sauce called Iguana Red. Now, PJ was talking earlier that it doesn't matter about the heat level. Sometimes it's the flavor it brings.
Sure.
And this was a cayenne pepper sauce.
Okay.
It had moderate heat to it, but this was something. And PJ, you mentioned it earlier that you can put on your eggs. Anytime that you got a hot sauce that you can put on your eggs,
yeah,
you're not talking a ton of heat. You're talking a ton of flavor.
Yeah.
Right. And Iguana Red delivered that for me. It's a beautiful sauce. That's the one I said I ran out of a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So I need to order more of those. But the one sauce that I have sitting here, and I've been waiting, and I actually saved some of the linguiça I was eating because I live in Kearney now, so you got to eat linguiça because it's a Portuguese sausage because so many Portuguese here. But I saved a few pieces so I could pour some of this on this. And this is something I came across actually at a beer festival, and it's just become my favorite hot sauce for almost anything, and that would be Jersey Bonfire. This is an absolutely delicious sauce. This one, go online, try to order it. They run out of it so damn often. And PJ, I guarantee you'd love this. This is a habanero base to it.
I've probably tried it at one of these beer festivals because there have been a couple of hot sauce stands that I've tried. I think one of them is the Jersey Bonfire that I tried that sauce. But Hank's sauce is the other one that I've tried at many AC beer festivals, and I've loved some of the stuff that Hank's sauce does.
Well, I think this was at one of Allison's beer festivals, or it was either that or it was the Chester Wine and Beer festival. I think that's maybe where they were at. And I just absolutely love this sauce. It's got so much flavor to it. It's got a nice habanero kick to it. There's a sunniness to it. And it's kind of sometimes hard to get your hands on because it's such a great sauce.
Nice.
So, like I said, I've poured it over the linguiça now, and I'm going to sop up every friggin' ounce that I've poured of it. I'll probably lick the plate later.
Well, it's whatchamacallit. You're how much are you eating of it?
As much as the sausage could hold.
That's pretty funny. Whatchamacallit. All right, I'll jump in my three. All right, I'm going to start out with I went back and forth. I love hot sauces. I am by no means anywhere as near a connoisseur as the two of you are. Meaning I have maybe 4 or 5 at any one time.
Yeah, I've got 35 at the house right now. I just counted them before I have 4 or 5, maybe 6, 7, something like that. Under 10, no matter under 9 or 10.
I used to be like PJ and have a whole ton of them, but then I realized I will never eat all of these, so I keep it to about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I have hot sauces that are sent to me from different events that we do. Right. I haven't bought a hot sauce in 2.5 years, probably 3 years.
Mine were all bought.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm the only one in the house that eats hot sauce. I'm literally the only one here that will eat hot sauce.
As am I, unless other people come over, unless Dave comes over or Brian comes over.
I was at the time, but I got my youngest son into it now, and he is up to ghost pepper range.
Nice.
And he's 16.
Nice.
Check out MikeyV's.com. MikeyV'sFoods.com. Holy cow, they got a line of salsas that are some of the best salsas you've ever had in your life. Their Hatch green chili is amazing.
Oh, Hatch. Love Hatch.
7 Pot is the hottest thing you'll ever eat when it comes to salsa. It's so hot.
Do they have a dottle?
Dottle. What's a dottle?
What's a dottle?
Datyl. Datyl.
No, I don't know.
Oh, datyl peppers. Oh, my youngest son, datyl peppers are one of his favorites.
There's the boss.
There he is.
Look at him. I'm in an interview right now.
Where did you get that red hair from? You stole that out of your
beard has a little bit of the red.
You stole it. You stole that out of your daddy's beard, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you steal your hair from daddy's beard?
Say hi into the microphone.
No. Where did you get your red hair from? Hi. Where'd you get your red hair from? Did you steal it out of daddy's beard? No.
His coming down means he wants me to read him a story soon, so I'm going to have to get upstairs and put him to bed. So
we're just about done, so I'll finish my top 3s and we'll wrap it up.
We'll wrap this up real quick so you can go do your fatherly duties.
Well, PJ can't hear us right now.
Oh, no, he can't.
Yeah,
PJ can't hear us.
Tell. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
I just said we'll do my top 3s and we'll wrap it up, and then you could go do daddy time. Absolutely. Good night.
Some things are more important than anything, right?
Absolutely. You kidding me?
We
All right,
went
so
to Asbury Boardwalk, and we were out on the Asbury Boardwalk, and they went to
Nice.
dinner, and I cut it short so I could come home and do this.
And
So
we
that's my
appreciate it.
why my
we do
wife.
appreciate it.
That's why my wife said to me, she goes, "You're still doing it?" And I go, "Yeah. We're drinking a couple beers. We're talking beer. We're talking hot sauce. So it takes
And
time.
barbecue. Should have told her
And
barbecue.
barbecue.
She would have. Yeah.
All
And
of
we
my
never got
favorite
around
things.
to talking. We never got around to talking bourbon.
That's true. That's
We'll
true. Next
leave
time.
that for another
Next time.
show.
Next time.
Another one of my loves. We'll have to have
Absolutely.
a backyard event. We'll drink some bourbon. We'll eat some Wagyu. We'll have some hot sauce, and then we'll report back about all.
Oh, I am there.
Absolutely.
Give me a date. I'm there.
That works for me. Just let me know when.
Yeah.
So I'll run through my three really quick. I won't go into detail or anything like that. So the three that I kind of zeroed in on that I have right now or whatever, picked it up on a couple of shows. Whatchamacallit? Mike's Hot Honey. I don't know if you have
It's
it.
great on a pizza.
Yeah,
Mike's Hot Honey
yeah.
is so good on pepperoni pizza.
French fries. Put it on French fries too.
Oh yeah.
Really good. Sweet, hot, love it. It's good. It's the best. It's the one of their advertisements, and it's the truth too. It's the best honey I've ever had. If you think about it like that. Anyway, but that's number one. Number three, rather. Number two is a Jersey barn fire. As you had said before, I've known John Socelli for several years. He used to come into the bar. He was friends with one of the guys that opened up one of the distilleries over in Fairfield, and he used to come in. He used to come into the bar for a while.
Wait a second. John from Jersey Spirits is
No, John Socelli.
okay. Oh, the other one. Okay.
Yeah, no, not that. No, it was the other distillery up in Fairfield. Jersey,
The one closer to Rick.
Yeah. So anyway, whatchamacallit? The green
Broken Barrel.
Not Broken Barrel. No.
Oh,
It's,
is that third?
Yeah. It's Jersey Artisan Distilling.
Oh, there's three there. Okay.
Jersey Artisan Distilling. Jersey Artisan Distilling was the first one. In fact, Jersey Artisan Distilling was the first distillery that got issued a license in 80 years. Since Prohibition, they were the first after Prohibition distillery in New Jersey to get issued a license. All the other craft distilleries in New Jersey came after them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did. They were the first. So they were the first in Fairfield, obviously, the first in the state. Jersey Spirits and Claremont came after them in Fairfield. But anyway, John Socelli is friends with Brandt, the owner of Jersey Artisan, and he used to come into the bar a lot, and I tasted all of his chilies and all of his sauces. Sauces, and I love his the green, the salsa verde, the
Okay.
chili verde. I'm sorry,
Chili.
the sauce. It's really tasty. And my number one.
Before you do that, I'm gonna have to shout out their Scorpion Strawberry.
Okay.
Yes, that thing is good. So good.
I believe I've had it. I'm trying to remember. I remember something with strawberry in it, but the other one that I want to say, and I definitely wound up with it because of Essential Guy Talk. I went on Reaper Rob's, the Blackberry Plum.
You did. All right.
Blackberry
See, I
Plum.
love
There you
it.
go.
Love
The
it.
night that Brian was on there, and you guys had it on there, I'm like, I have to order that. So I went on Reaper Rob's and ordered the Blackberry Plum. And
That's what I mean. I have no idea who actually supports when they watch the show, but you find out more and more that people are just like, you know what? I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, it's really it was hot but tasty. But the flavor in it is just
Flavor,
the garlic in it, and
What's the chili in it?
ghost peppers.
Nice.
It's a ghost sauce, yeah. So it's hot, but the flavor in it just it's as much flavorful as it is hot. So
Nice.
That's
it
what
was
I
really
want.
tasty.
It's the balance.
Exactly.
Give me heat,
Yeah.
but give me flavor. If you don't have
Exactly.
flavor, I have no interest in the heat.
Yeah, it was something I had to get as soon as you guys were eating that on the show. I'm like, I actually was I've been planning on ordering from Mikey V's too. Just so you're aware, I haven't yet.
Fantastic. He's got a line of lots of different food products, so it's not just hot stuff. He does these things called alligator toes, and they are the coolest things ever. They are fried pieces of garlic that are deep fried with different flavor on them. So he'll do like fried garlic Parmesan. He'll do barbecue style. They're so good, and you'll pop them like popcorn. They're that good.
Well, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I love all of them, and that was definitely something from that particular night that Brian won the contest.
Yep.
I ordered it that night. While I was sitting there, boom, my turn and went.
So John, maybe on our website we can link to the two hot sauce.
We could certainly do that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. Yeah, we'll throw up Reaper Robs and Mikey V's, and at that point, obviously, I've been mentioning, I might as well I'll throw a link to Jersey Barnfire too. Because if John Socelli is watching the show and then I don't link to him and I link to Reaper Robs and
yeah.
So, definitely we'll throw those links up, and we'll throw a couple of posts up too on the Facebook and the Instagram too. We'll share them. But that's awesome. I know you got daddy time, so if you want to wrap it up, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, it's been a couple of hours. It's
been a couple of hours, so we can.
This may or may
me.
not have been our. This may have been our longest show.
I think it actually by a couple of minutes. Our longest show to date was an hour 52, and that was with Tom. So this is the
record.
This is the longest show to date.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we'll give you the record there.
So.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I always appreciate talking Ross Brewing and all of the other craziness that I'm up to.
Absolutely. Stay on really quick. We'll let you go really quick because I know you got daddy time, but we'll talk to you for like just a minute after we sign off the show. So let's wrap up. We'll wrap it up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. For those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lageroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 6:30. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Thanks, PJ, for coming on and everything we talked about. This was a great show. Thank you so much for partaking in it with us. We appreciate it. And have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.
My pleasure. Thanks
2
a lot,
hours have
guys.
never gone by so quickly.
Absolutely.
Take care.
All right. Cheers, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.